Hey friends, welcome to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, episode 21, where we fit 15 days of content within an hour. I'm your host, Jeffrey Louie, along with Ron Kauanoe and Thach. We are a gaming and anime podcast, and if you are new to the channel, definitely check us out on Apple Podcasts and all your other major platforms. Throw us a 5-star review if you enjoy the show. And if you're feeling extra generous, you could subscribe to us for as little as $1 a month on Anchor, our sponsor. And speaking of Anchor, big shout out to them for holding it down. And without further ado, though, let's get this podcast started, boys. It's been hot, so just like how this podcast could be really hot today. We got
It's so hot.
for sure. We got some gaming news for you guys. We got some drama. We got some streamer news. So definitely look forward to it, everybody. But let's kick off with some games. Animal Crossing recently got a new update, thankfully in time for summer. We have swimming. Speaking of these hot days, it'd be nice to go swimming now, but there is a swimming add-on to Animal Crossing. So I was wondering if you guys, I'll start with you guys. Have you guys downloaded the update and tried it yet or looked into it?
I haven't played Animal Crossing in a minute, I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I've been spending all my time playing games like Last of Us and stuff, so I haven't played it too much.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think it's good for us to like. It's been a few months now, and the honeymoon phase is a little bit over. And everyone was playing it when it first came out. But what about you, Ron?
Yeah, it's been cool so far. I played a little bit of it, not too much, but
Okay.
There's a new section to the museum, I think, or there's more creatures that you can add. I forget. But it's pretty cool to see a new dynamic. Since it's my first Animal Crossing, I didn't experience that in New Leaf, and so it's pretty cool to jump off into the water and actually like dive down. So it's pretty cool animation. But yeah, they've been just coming out with a bunch of new free stuff for Animal Crossing. Nintendo's always been good about that. So of course we had the Sakura stuff that came out. Then we had the wedding update. Then they have this is the major update for the summer, and it's super hot. And then basically, it's good that they have the swimming thing because now you can dive and explore more of Animal Crossing and spend more time literally getting your turnips in there, trading stuff into blathers, all that stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
For the diving, since that's a new thing to the game, what about it is special? Do you get like do stuff when you go diving, or?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy because I've seen some clips where you could literally be chasing certain rare fish like for like 10 minutes straight, and you'll see the shadow and it'll just keep moving at a quick pace, and you literally have to kind of almost like time it to where basically the fish is at sort of a corner or the edge of the map where it has to turn around, or else it'll just disappear sometimes. But I saw a clip on Twitter that this guy was chasing I think what was it? It was like a rare fish or something like that. For like 10 minutes, and he did like a hyperlapse video and was like shh. Then all of a sudden he kind of cornered the fish and turned around and so happened to catch it, and it was the rare one.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool.
I didn't know you could actually catch a fish above the water. I thought it was just undersea creatures.
Yeah.
So that's sick.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I played a bit of the update the past week or so, just playing Animal Crossing maybe every other day for maybe 15 minutes, half an hour. And the swimming feature is something that's didn't excite me too much because they're literally adding modes that were in the old versions of the game, but they're like patching it in later. So there's been a lot of, let's say, debate in the community saying that this game was a little bit rushed. I mean, even back when you listen to our previous episodes, we had a lot of criticisms of the same nature because there's a lot that had so much potential, but it was never into the game. You guys still feel the same? You still feel that these updates are kind of like patching in what should have been at launch?
Yeah, I think you're right about that being patching in. These maybe keeping all the stuff that was in the past, making them free. And then once they're ready to unleash something brand new, then they'll leave like maybe an expansion or something for you to feast on.
Hopefully it's like an expansion of
Animal Crossing,
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully if they do expansion, it's like new
quest
stuff
or whatever.
Yeah, because everything they've been re-adding, it's just like old stuff. Okay, they brought in red, then we could buy paintings. Well, that was in the old games at launch, you know? All this stuff is like has been like ever since like crafting was the big new thing, but it just kind of got stale later on. It was more of a hindrance to the gameplay in my opinion because it was like too clunky. You can't like mass craft items or anything like that. There's a lot of like quality of life changes that need to be put into the game. Like you implement a smartphone, but it's very limited what you could do on the smartphone besides like checking your goals and stuff like that. So, I mean, hopefully in future titles or like in an expansion they'll add something entirely new. But these updates have been a little bit lackluster. So, any
No.
more thoughts on Animal Crossing? Or you guys want to move on to the next game? It's kind of a minor update.
Yeah, it's not too big, like you guys said.
Yeah, we'll have to play it together again, like maybe on stream because we used to play it together. So
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That was fun,
for
actually.
Sure.
it is. The swimming is pretty neat addition.
I'm about to try with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Especially Ron, I'm sure you have your Switch. You're out of town right now, right?
Yeah, so definitely I want to play a little bit more, play with you guys for sure.
Yep.
But like you said, these patches, since this is my first one, this is all new to me. And for people that have played in the past, it might not be as exciting to those people because they've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, I do see all the people that have played previous titles definitely asking for those quality of life changes. So with the mass crafting, even me, like this is my first game, my first Animal Crossing game. And when I'm crafting like 100 individual items that are the same, like that's dumb. Like just add the mass crafting so I can get all this stuff done quicker. And I think that will definitely speed up the pace and make some of the stuff a lot more fluid and fun to play.
Yeah.
Because when it gets tedious and you're putting 80 hours in and you're doing the same thing that you were day one, it's kind of not exciting, and you're just like, I have to do this again, and I still have to do this again, even though I've leveled up a bunch of stuff, I've unlocked a bunch of things, I have to still do this. But hopefully they're listening, and hopefully they will implement it in the future.
Yeah, totally.
That's about it.
Definitely. Hopefully that's something in the future. I mean, there's a laundry list of things. Since we're like passionate about the series, there's a laundry list of things of any game you can nitpick at, and Animal Crossing is no exception. But that's like a topic for another day. You could literally have a whole podcast about the issues of certain games. But other than that, there are some new game releases that came out, a little bit old release. It came out about a month ago. Since the summer has been summer is usually pretty of a wasteland for game releases, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definite Edition came out, and that's something I've been playing, and I think Shane was playing as well when he mentioned last stream. So it's a remake of a game that came out originally around 2010, 2011 on the Wii. Were you guys familiar with it?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's considered like one of the best JRPGs of the decade. And so it is a open world JRPG made by Monolith Software. And it's totally new graphics. They used the graphics engine from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that's on the Switch. And also they added an extra storyline as well into the game and some minor, let's say, quality of life adjustments and things like that. So definitely a game to check out. Won't go into too much detail, but if you like games that literally are kind of like Breath of the Wild style, before even Breath of the Wild came out, everything you look at in the game is like something that's an area you could explore, which I thought that was like, it's totally ahead of its time, because when you think about it, this game ran on the original Wii. So Monolith Software is known for, knowing how to max out the hardware they're working on, especially, when they work on Nintendo consoles, usually exclusively. But other than that, I know you guys had some games you wanted to talk about, right? Is it Paper Mario or Huniepop? Which one you want to go first about it?
Sure, I guess I can
really,
talk about. I think new game that's coming out for new releases that I've been pretty much looking forward to is the new Paper Mario game. I don't know what you guys have. You guys played the old ones before?
I played the one on the N64 a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Way back.
Yeah.
And then the one on the Wii, but
okay.
Not too memorable for me.
How about you, Ron? Were you into Paper Mario or Mario RPGs?
Not really. I mean, I played Super Mario RPG and I played the first Paper Mario on 64. I'm actually hunting down that copy. That's one of my N64 retro games I'm looking for. but not too much of the newer stuff. I was gonna try Color Splash, but I heard it was like whack, so I didn't play it.
Really?
So
Yeah, I've enjoyed playing the older RPGs. That's Nintendo and Mario RPGs. So I look forward just because it's nice to have something that's kind of colorful and upbeat after playing a lot of games that are kind of downers and kind of a downer environment right now.
Dude, I
And
agree.
Nintendo always does a good job of Nintendo always does a good job of bringing out like that fun, happy side. So I think at least that can get me in a better mood. I feel like I'm always in a bad mood because of everything around me.
Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
in these times. We want some more happy games like
Exactly.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I need some escapism.
Yeah, no, I feel it. That's what video games are for. And like you said,
Right.
especially during this climate, you don't want to consistently play like all those games that are like reminding you of like how bleak reality can be at sometimes. So it's always nice to have that
Right.
Nintendo like, hey, here's a fun game that's just fun just because. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, have you
I agree.
seen some of the new stuff for the new Paper Mario?
Yeah, I guess they're gonna make this one more of an action RPG. So
Okay.
I think the older ones were before was more like basic RPG, I guess, based.
Like
And so they're
turn-based
going
kind of
back to
stuff?
more of a traditional. Yeah, it's more turn-based, where this is more action-based. So I think that's more of the original style. They're going back.
Solid.
Yeah.
Right on.
Other than that, I think that's coming out this Friday too. Friday the 17th,
Yeah.
I think.
I think
Yes,
so.
the
Yeah,
17th.
because
Wow, that's soon. That's soon.
that's pretty
Quiet
Yeah.
release.
I'm gonna get it for sure. Yeah.
nice.
Nice. We have another Nintendo game to talk about next time then. Cool.
Heck yeah.
Mm.
And I like these. I don't know. It's weird because, like you're saying, Nintendo always has the good kind of stuff that kind of is just fun and brings everybody's mood up, kind of things. And I know people were like salty because of Color Splash, so I'm hoping this one does well because it's more of I love that they've been doing more of like crafty kind of stuff. Like they had Epic Yarn that started off that kind of art style. Then they had Woolly World. Then they had, of course, Paper Mario now. But now they had like they re-released Yoshi's Yarn World or whatever the new one is, the Crafted World. So I like that kind of they're taking that arts and crafts kind of art style and implementing it in a bunch of different games and a bunch of different IPs. So that's the pretty cool part. And I like this because when they start off the origami, I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, it's very interesting because, of course, it goes back to Paper Mario. And, you know, what's more paper than origami?
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
that's true.
Yeah. That's the coolest thing about origami too is like it's a 2D thing that can be brought in a 3D dimensional shape into the game, so it kind of adds an extra dimension. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I like how Nintendo does, like you said, Ron, the aesthetic changes in each and every game. They did that a lot with Legend of Zelda, definitely with Mario and Kirby with yarn style, claymation style, all that good stuff. So definitely, when it comes to art style, Nintendo is pretty top notch in the industry, for sure. So if you're listening, Nintendo, we're very Nintendo sponsor friendly.
Love my Nintendo games.
Yeah, we talk about Nintendo here a lot. Like, and usually it's
Mm.
positive. Everything's usually positive.
It is.
Positive vibes,
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Nintendo always has good stuff. Like going back, I'm reiterating what Boost said. Literally, Nintendo always has games that are fun just because you can literally just pick up and put down. You can invite somebody over, and that's the cool thing about Nintendo. It's like anybody, no matter what age, can literally pick up the controller and be like, "Okay, cool. Hey, I want to play. Oh, this game is pretty cool. I like it. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's family friendly." And that's the beauty of Nintendo stuff. It looks visually pleasing, you know, and stuff does hold up. Like we were talking about the original Paper Mario on 64 and Super Mario RPG. Those games are 20 years plus, and you know we're talking about it in 2020, and that's the cool thing. You know, not many companies have games that can be talked about on that level. Of course, you have your PlayStation 1 classics, your Xbox classics, your Sega classics, things like that. But a lot of those companies, it's just because it's either fun or the characters are memorable. And Nintendo's very fortunate to have kind of the best of both worlds.
They have the best first party characters. And they're kind of like pretty much relying on that. I mean, the newest IP character they made were probably the Splatoon with the younger development team. But other
It
than that,
was
yeah, like
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess some people could criticize it for that, but hey, they don't. I mean, they have the most iconic like game characters out of any other
Hmm.
company, in my opinion,
Yeah.
for sure. Probably
Yeah,
like.
that
Mhm. Go ahead, Vu.
and yeah, they might as well work with what they, like you said, they have already all the best, most recognizable IP. They're not gonna
Mhm.
trash it, and unlike Microsoft. I mean, there's like theories of Microsoft doing the cable thing, bringing back an old IP that's really popular, but
True.
stuff like that they should have been working on a long time ago, honestly.
Yeah,
And Nintendo doesn't forget their past, and they bring it up over and over.
they
You gotta
do.
rebuy their games,
Did you?
like
My question
terrible
is,
thing.
do you guys think Nintendo? It's not Nintendo that's only guilty of this, but don't you think everyone has like a remake issue right now? Like, there's been so many remakes for
Yeah.
sure. Like the
That's a
games we
trend
just
right now,
talked about. It is, yeah, it's a trend.
mm,
Yeah. But hey, if we're talking about remakes or remasters, I mean, dude, there's
Wonderful
stuff
101.
that's on there's stuff on the Wii U that didn't get its fair shot. So I don't mind some of the stuff, but if it's
mm,
like, we'll go back to it. I said if the game is not at least 15 years old, you do not remake it at all. Do
yeah.
not remake it.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. Like we were talking about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago about remasters and stuff being a problem. And some of the stuff is garnered because it is outdated. It's on 3 generation old consoles, and of course it's 15 plus years. So yes, they do. But if it's like PS3 to PS4, and just upresing, yeah, that kind of stuff is not garnered.
Mm,
And the best way, like we talked about, was voting with your wallet. Don't buy the remakes. And a lot of I think it's a lot of companies are um, guilty of it just because you have new technical hardware limitations and you want to keep pushing the boundaries. And if it's sold well,
Yeah.
you're going to keep doing it. Like Skyrim a couple years ago was the biggest one of this last generation. It was on everything: PS3, Xbox 360, and whatever PC. And then it got ported again. Now it's on, I think it's on Alexa or something now. And then there's just everywhere you can play it, or almost everywhere. And then now this time it's going to be Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto was on PS3, Xbox 360. It was on PS4. And now it's already confirmed to be on the PS5. So it's been crazy stuff. So
That's interesting that you say that because I know Sony is trying to make a new direction where they, with their new generation games, they strictly said that they're not trying to support cross-gen. So let's say, remember always in the past where they're, let's say, for example, like NBA 2K 2021. I'm not sure if there's going to be a 2021 version on, let's say, the PS4, but they want to stop that altogether. So if you're going to have it on PS5, we want you to utilize all the PS5's features and power and not be held back by the previous hardware's limitations. So definitely that's debate, and Microsoft's Phil Spencer would disagree with it. And I kind of like laugh because that's because they don't really have too many IPs of their own to have exclusives. So they're clinging on a lot of their past games like Nintendo. Not only just re-releasing it, but they are. I'll give it to Microsoft though. They do try to make it like very friendly with the Play Anywhere program, where you could buy the game digitally and you could play it on your PC and Xbox and have a copy for both platforms. So they're definitely going a very consumer-friendly route with the smart delivery and everything, the free upgrades. But yeah, well, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's better that Sony's doing this direction, or you think that Microsoft is more of the consumer-friendly way that's better for gaming going forward?
no, it's a lot to think
It's a
about there.
it's a
Okay.
lot because like with PlayStation, I kind of sympathize for what they're looking at because there's a lot of games. If you ever bought like, well, what's a game in memory? Okay, remember, let's since we were talking about Nintendo, let's look at Nintendo. Remember when Breath of the Wild came out for the Switch? It was also out for the Wii U.
Mhm.
So, and I'm sure the game wasn't fully utilizing the Switch's power. It's mainly based on what the Wii U was capable to run. So when we see Breath of the Wild 2, which is going to be strictly on the Switch, we'll see what the Switch is capable of when the game is built from the ground up, or what the Switch can do in its potential. Not running the game on limitations on, let's say, Wii U hardware. So that's
Mhm.
like a good example of. So do you think it's better for Sony to restrict people from developing on the PS4, even though that's a huge audience that they're disregarding? And like, you think it's better for games overall? You think the developers would make a better game with the strictly be on PS5's hardware?
I
For
think,
me, oh, go ahead, Drew.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. For me, like you said, Jeff, yeah, Breath of the Wild, which is the launch title on the Switch. So whenever a game comes out during launch, of course, they haven't explored everything that the new console and the new hardware can do. So they try to benchmark it off of last gen's speculation. Since last gen, they've basically are phasing it out and they've maximized all that they could, because as you go, this happens every generation
Yeah.
of consoles. You start off at the beginning, it's not optimized, but by the end of the generation, you see something that's super crazy that you wouldn't expect. All these super high textures, all these polygons, all these different complex sort of animations that you didn't see in the original launch titles. And so I don't blame them, because with a new console, it's trial and error. You have to find out, you have to go through all these different phases to figure out what you can and what you can't do. And with it, I've never heard of a game that's fully optimized the new generation's hardware to its maximum potential, because people don't know it yet. Developers don't know it. And it's one of those things where you just have to keep pushing the boundary every iteration of game that comes out, or every sequel, things like that. So I don't blame them for that. But on your point where they're pushing, where Sony's saying, hey, we want to cut off all PS4 and basically force everybody to upgrade to PS5. So I'll play devil's advocate and talk about it in both retrospects. So coming from a consumer standpoint, if you are disregarding PS4 and going straight to PS5, that is not consumer friendly, because we're in July and we still haven't had a price point on the PS5. So we don't even know if people are going to be able to afford this PS5. So that's going in and taking a big risk and taking a big chance and saying that, oh, hey, people are going to buy PS5 day one. Potentially no, because we don't know the price yet, and people need time to save up. They've got gifts and holidays and all this stuff before Black Friday, and then you have to make sure that you have enough to basically spend during holiday time. In addition to that, I can see it from the business perspective, because if you have a new hardware and you want people to play on it, why not just make one copy? So that way it's, hey, you want the PS5, we're going to give you the PS5 games. But I'm going to go hop on the backside, and it's going to be another perspective from the consumers. So with the PS4 and the PS5 gap, you can go back and listen to old episodes when they're talking about the not crossplay, the smart delivery and stuff like that. Basically, all it is, in my eyes, there's a bunch of game companies that are saying, hey, we're going to give you the PS5 copy for free, yada, 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 things like that. A lot of it comes down to, in my eyes, as a texture pack upgrade. Of course, there's going to be probably new
that's pretty much what
mapping.
it is.
Yeah, there's going to be new button mapping for the controllers and things like that. But we've seen it on PC, where basically the game of the year or an enhanced edition comes out. A lot of games that release on Steam and Origin that have multiple editions or have upgraded editions, a lot of it comes out as texture packs, and those are already free. So with that kind of thing that people are saying, oh, hey, it's going to be a free update. In my eyes, coming from the PC background, that's not really selling me. But having all these console people that haven't played PC and haven't experienced this is a big thing. They're like, oh, hey, you're selling me because I can get a PS4 version at the cheaper price. And then when the more expensive one comes out, I just get that one for free. So I'm basically saving money, buying it early, and future-proofing myself for the next generation when I upgrade, because I know I have a guaranteed PS5 copy. In my eyes, it should be free for all the games, just because it's just a texture pack upgrade. and I shouldn't have to pay $70, whereas what the rumored PS5 games or next gen games are going to be.
Oh, that's crazy.
For the same game that came out on the PS4 for just basically an upgrade on the textures. I can understand if you want to charge again for new features, new mechanics, new sort of added capabilities to the gameplay. Okay, that's fine with me. Go ahead and charge me twice for it. But if it's literally just a texture upgrade where it's like, oh, hey, we're going from 4K to 8K or whatever they want to talk about, it's not really worth it to buy the game twice.
Yeah. I think it's just, as you said, like consoles, you just explained that consoles are really just becoming more like PCs, more like gaming PCs every generation, and this one's no exception. But backtracking a bit on, let's see, PlayStation stands. For me, I agree with you too. I think it is anti-consumer, but at the same time, I do think they're just trying to rush the process for the games to actually utilize the PlayStation 5's potential sooner than later. But the bad side is it's very anti-consumer. You should kind of try to leave it to the developer, because I would think the developers would want to put it on both consoles. They don't want to put it on a console that the audience is so small. You know what I mean? They'll want to design it for the PS4, all those millions of console users. So I think it really hurts the developers as well. But I mean, if it's an exclusive studio being funded by Sony all in-house, then they have every right to want to only be at the PS5. So it'll be interesting seeing it go forward for sure. But let's move on. I know we have some news that Vu wanted to bring up here. For NBA.
Vu, did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, did you have any more final thoughts on that topic, Vu?
That's pretty much touched on how I feel about it. Yeah, with the whole what do you call that? What did you call that, Ron? Smart delivery.
Yeah.
I get limiting it to just PS5 and all to make it easier. Honestly, just make it easier for themselves and not having to split between making two products.
Exactly.
Especially when one product might sell more anyways to begin with, and the other one's gonna make less. So, why waste the energy?
I feel.
But I agree with you guys what you're saying. So, but before we go onto the news section, do you guys mind if I talk about one game real quick here? Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Good.
We're on the game topic.
Have you guys ever played, what is it called? Huniepop? I think is how you pronounce it. Huniepop?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Is that anime hentai game?
Yes, I've never played one of these games before. I think Jeff, you described it as like a waifu simulator, dating simulator kind of game.
It's kind of like a waifu dating simulator from what I hear. Yeah.
Right, and before anybody gets any strange ideas about me, I'm not a pervert. This game was completely my girlfriend's idea to play.
Oh, then your girlfriend. No, I'm just kidding.
They all say.
I'm serious.
It's okay to be a pervert.
She saw Markiplier play it, and she's like, "Oh, it looks like fun." So we downloaded it. I downloaded an extra mod to make it a little extra naughty.
Chibi's in chat too. As you said. Oh, extra naughty. Okay, so you download the uncensored.
Oh, the uncensored pack.
Uncensored mod pack.
You're a man of culture.
So
you're a man of culture.
Had to do it, man. Steam censors everything on there, so I had to do it. Yeah, really good game. Definitely don't recommend this for kids. Don't let your kids play it. Definitely 18 and plus.
Not even
game.
The censored?
Even the censored version is still pretty adult, honestly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I never played an adult game like this, and the gameplay style is like Bejeweled Match 3 kind of style. And you got multiple girls you can pick to date with. Yeah, it's pretty fun though. It's actually pretty addicting, the gameplay.
Oh, I bet, man. I bet.
Yeah.
That's good.
Especially when you get to the end.
Why you say it like that? I bet.
No, hey, if you make the girls like you and you increase their passion, they send you sexy text messages and cute photos too. So it's pretty fun.
It's all in fun and fantasy.
Yeah, the reward is good. It's good rewards. It's fake ring.
That's what it's all about in gaming.
It's not that. It's not those baits where it's just like, okay, cool. Here's a shoulder blade. Or,
no.
Oh, okay.
There's a strap.
No, some of them go in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Other than that, I don't want to take up all the time. I just want to bring that up real quick.
No, it's a good one to put in because we never really talk about those type of games, and it was pretty. It was pretty funny interjection. Like,
I'm always worried like it's too adult for the podcast, so I'm not sure like how we want to keep it.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
I think
I've heard it being a really fun game.
Yeah. I heard there's a lot of those like that. So.
So I might try some more after trying that, and who knows? Maybe we'll have for episode 69. It could be a little extra. Stick
the
around.
uncensored one.
I
Uncensored
didn't. I
version.
just recently learned like even Steam even had those games. Like, but yeah, well,
Yeah.
we could keep that for another episode. There's a lot in that scene because
Oh,
I know
yeah.
there was a lot of controversy about it too. That's why
Even
they
the Switch
censor a
has
lot of
them.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Switch
the
does.
Switch
That's
has-
crazy.
Switch has games like that too.
there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, before we move on, I want to say like when it comes to like those sort of adult theme games like Huniepop, I think it's kind of absurd to like censor those games when we're so accepting of games that are so violent, like Last of Us 2, like blowing up people's heads and stuff like that. And
True.
as long as it's not portraying too much like obviously things that are pretty much illegal in probably a lot of states in America, I guess, to do, or but maybe you could censor that. I get that, but a lot of it shouldn't be too. It shouldn't be too taboo. I know America's a lot more, let's say, prude when it comes to like talking about sex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I guess like my vision of it is more like a European standard because when my ex was like from Ireland, so she would always tell me like, man, people in America are just like so prude, like they don't want to talk about this or that. So I totally see why they just try to keep it that way. But I think that was kind of funny.
True.
So I think in the future people shouldn't be so shy about it. Other than that, you guys want to move on to gaming news?
Yeah, sure. Because it kind of ties back into the smart delivery, right? Because
yeah, we were already segueing to it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I know Vu wanted to talk about, was it NBA 2K21? There was a price increase of it, so I'm interested to hear about that.
Yes. So this whole conversation about this game really does tie into what you guys were just talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
And you even mentioned NBA 2K earlier as well.
Yep.
And there's going to be a difference in price between the PS4 and PS5 version. PS4 version is going to be priced at the regular $60, but for the PS5 version, I believe it's going to be $70. So there's that
$69.99.
So that's
$69.99, and yep.
That's that rumor that Ron was saying that they're probably going to be $70 price tag for the next gen games. Okay, go on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like you guys were saying also about the smart delivery, that this game does have a like upgraded version that if you buy the PS4 version and you want to upgrade to PS5, you have to buy, I think, a special Mamba edition, which is like $100.
Wow.
Which is the only way to get the PS5 version. So, like, what do you guys takes on like more games in the future doing this kind of? If you want the actual next version, if the developers aren't forcing them to, this whole thing is very confusing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like,
I think I get what you're saying. So you're saying that
know,
they only include the free upgrade if you buy a certain version of the game, like the higher end version.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Exactly. Yeah.
Like a deluxe edition or collector's edition. Like they made it like a bonus.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Let me send you the link so you can see it for yourself.
Okay.
I'm gonna come out and already say this is trash. Like this.
Yeah, my opinion too. Yeah, I feel that.
Just because I just reiterated it, like,
you already explained it earlier.
Before, and with
exactly.
it, it's basically you're forcing the consumer to spend the extra $40 or whatever to get that version. But I'll play devil's advocate again and talk from both sides. So from the consumer's perspective, you are forcing me to basically either buy the $100 version, or which is $40, or spend $70 to get the standalone standard version on the next gen. Yep. So either way, you're getting at least $40 more from me. And that sucks because I'm already spending that much. But if it's like 2K has had that standard where they've had 3 different editions over time. So it's the standard, the deluxe, and then the super deluxe kind of one. And you said this one was $100 for the PS5.
$9.99.
Okay, so
if you want to get the upgraded, if you have a PS4 and you wanted to upgrade to PS5, you have to spend $100 instead of the $60.
Instead of $60. Okay, so
if that makes sense,
yeah. So with 2K, in the past they've had the 3 different editions, And usually these 3 different editions have little extra digital content, digital items. They have more virtual currency, which is used for your My players, so you can boost up their rating and get them up to 99 ratings quicker. So if it's basically a tie-in with the standard, they call it the Legend Edition. If it's tied in with that second version for that same price, so basically the consumer gets all the same things that they've been getting over the last 10 years, and they're just adding that into the $100. That's perfectly fine because it makes sense. People have been doing that without the PS5 upgrade for the last 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a normal. But what Jeff said, or I think it was maybe Vu, basically if companies, or if the major 3 are not, or the major 2, Microsoft and Sony, if they're not explicitly forcing the developers and the studios to include a PS5 or an Xbox Series X version for free, and they're leaving it up to the individual studios, that one is pretty crazy, because like Vu said earlier, as I'm going to speak from the developer's perspective, as a developer, you don't want to work on 2 separate things. That's doing double duty work, and you have to create something that is optimized for the PS4 and then something that is potentially optimized for the PS5. And that sucks because it's like rewriting a set of notes twice, which sucks because with it, that's a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of labor, and that's more money for the studios, and it costs people more money. So of course they're going to want to charge more for these upgraded versions, which makes sense. So I can see it from their perspective because they have to make money if they're going to, if they're going to make it for the next gen and current gen. They're going to set the standard price for the current gen. For the next gen, of course, they're going to recharge you for it just because it's happened in the past. Like a Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 came on 360. It was $60. Came out again on Xbox One. It was $60. It's going to come out on PS5 and Xbox Series X, which is going to be a free for, I think, the first month. So if you don't get it, I'm guessing it's going to be $70, to be honest. If they were smart and they wanted to just have more install base again, drop it for $40. But with all the man labor and the employees that they have to pay to work on the upgraded textures, okay, they're gonna try and get this money again. So it is what it is. So I can see it from both sides, but as a consumer,
it sucks for consumers.
Yeah,
it sucks.
It's super egregious, honestly. At least for a game that already racks in millions of dollars on the back end from
it's money grubbing. Yeah,
like,
it's greedy.
Yeah.
I know it's money grubbing, but like you really want to like make this much more difficult for your players who are already like loyal to your game. Like make them pay an extra, 40, and then they're gonna pay more through your loot boxes and everything else. So I don't know. I feel like it's just super exploitative to their player base. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it doesn't sell too well, I guess. And the next thing, developers.
Oh, it's gonna sell, dude. And NBA sports games sell hard, so
they do.
It's gonna sell no matter what.
So they knew whatever they're gonna do, that their audience is gonna still pay for it, type of thing. Which is like annoying.
And that's the thing too. That's the thing. Like, they've been doing these 2 or 3 different editions for a while. So, for a person that's potentially a new player in the NBA 2K series, this might be off-putting because you're coming in and you plan on buying the next generation console, but you want to play the game at launch. And so with it, this might seem off-putting in their eyes because you're like, hey, if I want the PS5 version, you're telling me I have to spend $100 instead of $60. So I think it's for this example, it may be smart for the for 2K to do it this way because they know that out of the 3 different versions that usually sell a lot, people always buy, or a lot of people buy the second version or the second tier version at launch. When the new 2Ks come out, so like 2K19, 2K18, 2K17, there's always 3 different versions. A lot of people buy the middle version.
Middle version.
So they've been kind of watching all these analytics and been seeing, hey, this version sells the most besides the standard. I think if they include all the stuff that they've been including for the last 4 or 5 iterations of 2K and just add the PS5, basically upgrade the smart delivery, that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something like that comes out every 7 years, so say it was Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2, you buy $60 version, then you have to buy it again on the PS5. That's gonna suck. Or even if they did Last of Us Remastered, you're gonna have to spend. You're telling me you're gonna have to spend another $70 to play that game again instead of upgrading it for free.
It would have been more friendly.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how. Is it gonna be the same for Xbox as well? Like the way they're pre-ordering it, I'm assuming.
So yeah,
I think right.
Is that only PlayStation
for the NBA 2K?
Yeah, or is it Xbox as well?
It's all everything.
For everything, okay.
Everything.
Oh, okay. So they're doing it on both platforms. Okay.
Yep.
So much for being free upgrade, but I guess it depends on each developer.
Mm.
I mean, it'd probably be more fair to charge maybe just like a $10 like upgrade fee or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that's kind of very, not too much money, but you'll still make a lot of money doing it.
Dude, there's some developers that's doing it for free. I mean, look at Cyberpunk and I believe Destiny 2 are both doing it for free.
That's good.
They're not charging you for an upgrade if you're gonna buy their game on the new system, which I think is great. That's how you bring in your player base, and you are, like you say, like consumer friendly.
Yep. They don't want to divide their player base because they don't want to lose all those. Like, it's stupid because you would just want the game to be playable on both systems because they're going to spend, like you said, there's microtransactions, loot boxes, whatever that's in the game. You're going to want access to as many players as possible. So when you limit them, like what if someone, for example, bought like the base model on the PS4 and then they didn't buy a PS5 till later, but what if they still wanted to play that version later when they bought the PS5, maybe almost a year after the game came out, and they wanted to play it on the PS5, that you're losing that customer from continuing to play the game on the PS5 because you want to charge like an extra $40, for the Ultimate Edition, whatever they call it, just to have a free upgrade. So yeah, definitely, I think it's just like a Wild Wild West situation. They're kind of testing the waters, what they can and can't get away with. So it's good to see, like you said, Vu, that there are a couple of developers that are already just announcing that it's going to be just a free upgrade. Hopefully more follow suit, and then they make these type of developers like 2K look bad. Yeah, for sure.
And that's
thing. What do you? Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you guys, like, what are your feelings on games just in general now going to be costing $70? Do you think future game sales, or you think it's gonna be worth it to you for future game sales to be at $70? Like, is that a worth it amount for you guys, or do you think that's overcharging right now?
I think it's overcharging because they're going to add like a bunch of DLC on top of the $70. So I understand if you make more a complete game at $70, but we know like even the games now within the past couple generations, games selling around $60 there's always like a season pass for like $30 or $50 or a bunch of skins that could be bought. So I mean, I'm for it if they just actually make a more complete game and less DLC, but we know that's most likely not going to happen because DLC is so popular. For me, I feel that DLC should be more of like you're almost tipping the developers, just giving them an extra I love this game so much that I'm gonna buy like this exclusive skin or something like that or whatever. Just
games work, It works perfectly for like League of Legends. They make millions of dollars, and the game is free, and you're charging for skins, So it can work, and you don't have to charge extra. I think that back end, like you guys are saying, are already a big hold in the industry. Like, I think the extra charging isn't necessary either.
Yep. Yeah. I know like games are more expensive to make, and that's the argument they make. But for sure, they're definitely raking in like more money through the DLC sometimes. Well, especially like you said, League of Legends, Phantasy Star Online 2, Fortnite.
The biggest selling game of all time.
Yep, exactly. Oh, from all the microtransactions that are in the Grand Theft Auto game. So, exactly. So I totally see that. We did talk about that in a previous podcast about how games are more games of service than anything, even though it was a paid-to-play game to begin with. Like, So it's kind of crazy. Like, you buy to play the game, but you still have a bunch of microtransactions. That's super, like, greedy. Like, I understand if like the entry level was nothing, and then you want to make your money back. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, that's just hopefully we'll have to wait and see if the games are that much. And then what about, like, speaking of the prices of games though, do you guys believe that the consoles prices are going to be around perhaps $400 to $500? Because I hear that it's going to be a lot cheaper than we think because of COVID, for one. Obviously when this console launches, they want it to be consumer friendly price as much as possible. So it could be as low as like $400 for like the digital only PS5, and then maybe like $500 for like the one with the disc drive. You guys think that there's a credibility to that?
Yeah, for me, I think so. As far as like, as far as the COVID impacting a bunch of things, I think they want to make it. I know PlayStation said they want to be as consumer friendly as possible when it comes to that. So I honestly believe it's not going to be any more than $600 because
Yeah, definitely.
with it, I think I saw the price that it costs, or I think we spoke about it in a couple podcasts. But the price to manufacture is about $450, and so $499 is probably the nice mark.
Oh yeah,
for that.
$50 a loss per console sounds about average. It's just how much are they willing to take a loss? Because we know they're taking a loss regardless. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, well, if they mark it up to $499, that's a $50 gain. But if they do $399, then that's a $50 loss. But this is the first time that they've come out with two simultaneous launches of the same console at launch. Usually we get a sort of a system upgrade or a system basically revamp like 2 or 3 years in. But this one, it's basically coming out with the digital, no disc, and it's coming out with a physical with the disc tray and the Blu-ray tray in there. So we'll see. And like we've speculated in the past, $499 is going to be the digital, and $599 might be the physical with the extra hard drive in there, or the extra terabyte of memory in there, because they are running on SSDs. So, we'll see how it goes. That's the kind of thing that we're sitting in now. As far as the games being $70, Jeff, you hit the nail on the head. Games are getting more expensive. All these new assets, it's taking developers more time to basically refine these sort of games and make them look as realistic as possible within these limitations of these consoles. So, of course, if it takes a person 10 more hours to make the same sort of character, but in more detail, of course, I'm not going to, if I'm the developer or if I'm the character artist, I'm going to get paid for those extra 10 hours. There's no way that I'm going to work those 10 extra hours for free just to make it look good.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be in the industry. And if that's just because, that's how the industry is progressing, is getting more expensive because people are taking more time to detail. Okay, by all means do it. But then again, like you guys said, you brought up a good example, Grand Theft Auto. It was a game that started at $60, then it had the microtransactions and it made even more money. And then you have League of Legends, which is a PC game that they keep revamping the look of it, but it's free to play and free to start, and they have other character skins that don't affect gameplay, things like that, and they're charging and they're making money on that end as well. It's one of those things where it's a catch-22 because, like you said, Jeff, I know there's certain games and certain franchises that basically include half the game, and they basically have a season pass to pay for the second half of it.
You see the pattern where it's kind of going? We mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, like Animal Crossing did that, right? Even though, let's be fair, like they're adding it for free, but still, like a lot of these games are being, rushed. I mean, like we mentioned with Last of Us 2, I know that there was a lot of crunch time, so a lot of these developers are putting in a lot of pressure to develop a game. Not only is it a lot harder to develop games now because of what the scale of the project is, but they're not giving them any more time. Like they're still kind of going with the old school time frame, but they're expecting more work in the same time. So I can see what you're saying there, Ron.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I think Animal Crossing actually did it right, because you say that they're pushing it up. So that's also a catch-22. You say that they're pushing these timetables, or the games are getting more complex and they're keeping the same timetable. So say it's like development cycle is 3 years. You have 3 years to make this game, but 3 years and you have a new system and basically new limitations. So you want to pack as much of the detail and the mechanics into this. So it takes more time. So Animal Crossing, I think they did it the right way, because as veteran players, you've said that swimming, they've done that in past games. Doing these kind of updates where it's for free, Vu touched on it as well, that's perfectly fine with me, because you can't expect the developers to come out with a new product on a new system in the same amount of time, because as consoles get upgraded, there are new limitations and new boundaries to push. So if you want to get more detailed, it's going to take more time. We're going to go back to the character designer. These new generations are graphics are getting more and more realistic as we go on. So it's going to take more time to detail these characters in the game. So you can't expect to have the same development time on an N64 game as a Switch. Of course, you're gonna, you got 2 years to finish the game, but 2 years on the N64 is way different than 2 years on the Switch. You can get a lot more accomplished on the 64 just because the graphics are outdated, the mechanics are outdated, things like that. As you get more complex with these games, of course, you're going to take more time. So with Animal Crossing, that's fine, as long as they release all the stuff that's already been basically in past games as free upgrades, that's fine. But if you want to increase story, increase new multiplayer aspect,
Maybe like a paid expansion or something.
Paid expansions.
Yeah.
So that's the right way to do that.
I think Nintendo's with DLC is pretty
Yeah.
good. Now that I'm thinking about it, after listening to you say that, is they don't really milk DLC that much.
Okay.
They don't milk.
Yeah, they don't
DLC.
milk it, but they're okay.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
They try to make DLC like add to the game, in their opinion, but they're a little hit and miss on it too. But they don't they don't milk it too much, or at least they try not to.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I feel like they do a disservice for some of their games, like what is it, Mario Party. I love that game, and I was really hoping for them to do lots of DLC for that game, make hella maps, hella we don't play Mario Party, all the different maps. And they could have made a lot of money on that game, but they didn't release any new maps, any DLC. I would have bought it because I love Mario Party. So sometimes I feel like there's a hit and a miss with Nintendo for DLC wise.
It is.
Yeah. No.
I think we could all say
I
for all the companies though, we'll wrap up this topic, but I think we could all agree that they're making money regardless, even if they didn't make DLC. DLC is just a little extra tip for them. And but speaking of making money, as we mentioned before, Ninja, former Twitch streamer, pretty much got away with $30 million in 8 months from Mixer, as we mentioned last. I just wanted to move over to the streamer news here. And did you guys hear that he did a stream on YouTube?
I heard about that. What is that all about? What's such a big deal?
So what made it a big deal was we were all kind of guessing where he would land. Let's say, how it's crazy how these big streamers are almost like free agents now, like on a sports team. Like, what team you got to play for? Facebook Gaming, YouTube, Twitch. Pretty much, we all kind of knew that he wasn't going to Twitch because of what happened. How Twitch kind of burned their bridges. If you guys remember that, when Ninja
he did that commercial.
Oh yeah, he did a commercial too. Yeah, he did.
He did a commercial. What do you expect?
Exactly. For the viewers that don't know, Ninja left for Twitch. Well, I'm pretty sure most people know. Went to Twitch to Mixer on a contract. Got paid a lump sum of money that was not disclosed. I think was disclosed later. But besides that, what happened with Twitch is Twitch immediately, pretty much took his partner badge away. His account apparently got, let's say, quotation, hacked. And there was porn streamed on his Twitch channel for about an hour until it was taken down. You didn't hear about that? There was porn,
no, I didn't
literally
know that.
after.
Wow.
So we don't know if it's someone on Twitch who's bitter did it, or someone that's a fan that was mad and hacked his account, tried to ruin his image, and then it was up there for like an hour. Porn being streamed on his channel, which has millions of followers on it, and kids mainly on that following.
Damn.
So that really burned Twitch's bridges. I don't know if it was intentional or not, probably not, but it really burned the bridges for those type of tactics. Kind of bitterness a bit, Twitch, because Ninja is practically saying, I outgrew Twitch, I'm bigger than Twitch, which he is. I mean, you go to like Walmart, or you could buy like posters of Ninja or T-shirts of Ninja, and like your mom and pop would know who Ninja is, but they won't know what Twitch is. Like they know who
True.
Ninja because he's so branded in a certain way. So
Good point. Yeah.
back to the YouTube thing is that he was pretty much showing how much control or like influence he still has as a social media influencer. Pretty much all he did was tweet an hour before he streamed on Twitter, and then he's saying 1 hour to go, like test stream or whatever, and then an hour later he streamed on YouTube, and then he racked up 150,000 viewers. So it goes to show you how many people he could pull still, because when he was on Mixer, he was only getting like 5 or 10,000. His viewership was like average 50,000 on Twitch. So he kind of killed his career going to Mixer. But when he went on YouTube, which he has over 20 million followers, it makes sense. And a lot of people predicted he would probably prefer to stream on YouTube. Facebook gaming is not really taken seriously amongst someone as big as him. So so I think he's trying to, let's say, force his hand on YouTube to say, do you think he's trying to have YouTube sign him and lock him up with another multi-million-dollar deal? What do you guys think about that?
Who knows? That's a good question, though.
I think for sure.
I don't really keep up with a lot of streamers too much, even somebody as big as Ninja. But yeah, they could potentially lock him up. But he may have already learned his lesson of having such a downfall on Mixer. But like you said, he has a big subscriber base on YouTube.
He didn't. I mean, he wants to get signed again because he made so much money off Mixer. Unless like the contract is like not in his favor.
To me, the only reason why Mixer gave so much money is because they're Microsoft. They already have so much money. Giving him money is no big deal.
They were trying to force themselves into the streaming game. Yeah.
They try to play or pay to play in the streaming world, and they just didn't. Yeah, they didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
They had so much potential though, the Mixer platform. Like I thought it would be a legitimate competitor to Twitch because they had some pretty cool twist on it. That, let's say, a point system, which they called embers and stuff like that, and like on let's say Mixer, which later on Twitch would implement a point system, like a built-in point system on their platform. So they had some pretty neat ideas, like squad streaming and stuff like that. I believe they co-op streaming. I believe they kind of started that. Well, Twitch started, but then Mixer made it more accessible. You didn't have to be a partner to use it. So they had some very competitive ideas, but they just didn't follow through with it. I mean, that's kind of like Microsoft, right? Like we mentioned before, with their failed Windows Phone and their Zune products, they all had kind of some sort of potential, but it kind of fizzled out, a lot earlier than we thought. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much some of the news on the streamer news. There are a bunch of, let's say, dark ones too. We don't want to really get into that, but for sure, like, let's go with some happier kind of content though. We haven't talked about anime in a while. Like,
buddy.
So we found a anime we all agreed to try to watch called A Whisker Away, which is like reminiscent to A Spirited Away. Like it's total play on words, and the movies are pretty similar. So A Whisker Away, I guess we'll try not to go too much in spoilers. It is a Netflix exclusive anime movie. It is about a girl who is growing up. Oh, you said 10 out of 10?
You said 10 out of 10.
It's about okay, I'll do like a short like spark notes of it. But not like give out the details. It's pretty much a girl who wants to be a cat. She grew up in a kind of a broken family. She's in love with this boy, but the only way she could get close with the boy is that if she turns into a cat. So she founds this like mythical cat, makes a kind of little shady deal that she has a mask that she could turn into a cat whenever she wants and go back to her human form. So definitely kind of like unique kind of storyline, but I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Like, what do you guys think about the movie? You say 10 out of 10, Vu? Let's start with you.
I don't necessarily say it was a 10 out of 10, but it was definitely a tearjerker, especially in the beginning when you're getting to know her a lot. And you see that she's like this fun, frantic kind of over the top kind of personality, that's kind of different from normal Japanese culture. And seeing her interact with what was his name? The boy that she likes? I forget what his name is.
I forgot his name.
Hinode. Yeah, him. And just seeing them interact, and it was cool. It was cool to see the two of them interact. I think I feel like they could have done a little bit more to show more on-screen time with them. I know it's supposed to show more on-screen time with her as a cat with him, but I wish I got to see the two of them as two people together a little bit more.
Yep.
But overall, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for me, I enjoyed it, but it didn't really keep my interest too much. And like in the first half, it was like really slow,
Mhm.
and it was very cliched. Like it's nothing we haven't really seen before, kind of. And I feel
True.
like it's like kind of like a homage to A Spirited Away, because you're kind of like transcending like a different parallel
Mhm.
world within the same.
What was that other cat movie that's Studio Ghibli? Ron, you mentioned it earlier when I was talking to you.
Cat
What was it
A
called?
Cat Returns. It's a
Cat
little bit like
Returns.
that. It's
That's
very
what it reminds me of. Yep.
It's probably better to compare it as it's very Studio Ghibli like inspired for sure.
Yes.
But it didn't really capture obviously a Studio Ghibli, so it's a little bit of a poor imitation.
Mhm.
I think the movie got better as it went on, and it got the little darker themes. It actually got a little bit scary on what she was getting herself into on becoming a cat and stuff like that. And so I mean,
just with her family too. Like it was
yeah,
actually some pretty rough topics that they don't always bring up in
very
anime.
sensitive,
So that
very
was good
sensitive.
too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I think a lot of people could relate to it because there's a lot of people growing up because of if you grew up in a broken family, you'll totally relate to the main character. She definitely struggles with like where she belongs and like if she has any type of like purpose. And I feel like she found someone she loves so much where like she clings on to that because maybe the lack of love she feels supposedly from her mom and dad that didn't give her original mom and dad, her struggles with her stepmom and things like that. But I like how they, at the end, it kind of wraps up and they kind of come onto an understanding and understand each other's feelings, and they try to be more open to each other and kind of clear the air.
Yeah.
What about you, Ron? Like, do you have any input about it?
Pretty much, you guys explained a bunch of it. I just got finished watching it like right before the podcast.
So it's fresh.
But pretty much, I had very similar thoughts as you guys. In the beginning, it was very slow. It was totally cliche, but you guys did bring up good points about the movie. Good things that I took away from it was you described her personality very, very well, because it was very not anti-Japanese, but not traditional Japanese. You had somebody that was very outspoken, very bubbly kind of personality that wasn't afraid to be herself and show her personality in public, as opposed to a more traditionally reserved kind of to themselves kind of person and personality. So that was a cool part. And yes, I think it was definitely an homage to sort of the Ghibli movies in the past. It was like a knockoff.
It kind of was. I think that's why
discount Ghibli, but
discount Ghibli.
But with it, you guys did explain that they talked about topics that usually aren't in Ghibli films. Like, I think the most serious Ghibli film was Mononoke, and Mononoke went in hard on sort of these sort of comparisons and similes and comparisons to more serious type of topics, but they kind of present it in a way where it's still kid friendly. This one, it went into more of a serious tone, like Vu was saying, and basically talked about, hey, this is real life kind of stuff. This is basically what happens in the real world. Even if you're like sort of in an anime fantasy and you're in an anime world, this kind of stuff happens in reality when you step outside of that zone, as opposed to, broken homes, broken families, things like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. That was a cool part about the movie because it dealt with real problems. And a lot of anime stuff is usually fantastical and sort of not realistic in a sense, as far as sort of tones of the movie. But this one and scenarios, but this movie definitely took it head on and was like, yeah, no, we're going to talk about real stuff in here. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I would say definitely like 7.5 out of 10. Wasn't the greatest film, but it definitely wasn't the best, and it was boring in the beginning. But towards the end, I think the second act was really, really good.
Did you guys? I would give it about probably 7 out of 10 as well. Did you guys watch it in English dub or Japanese sub?
I watched it in Japanese sub.
Okay, cool.
Same here.
So I watched it in English.
I heard there was supposed to be it said on the Netflix thing there was like a redubbing or something too.
I think because the English dub came late or something because of COVID.
Oh,
so I watched the English dub.
Yeah.
It was okay.
How was it? Was it okay?
It was pretty solid. Pretty much what you come to expect from dubbing now. I think
Mm.
I don't really like. I mean, I guess was it his name Hanode?
Hinode.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't really like his performances too much because he doesn't really show that much emotion. I think that's what he was going for though. I think
Kind of towards
Hanode.
the end, he did open up a little bit
Yeah,
more.
that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of unfair to say that whoever voiced Hanode in the English dub was kind of non-emotional. It's because that's probably what the direction was. I think did he act
how
like
the
that in the
character was
Jap?
written.
Yep, that's how he's written. So I think he did the best he could, but I really
Right.
didn't. I didn't really find his character very likable. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to be written, and you kind of like
Yeah.
him more at the end because he's kind of a jerk, like the love interest of the girl. I mean, the girl loves him, but you kind of
Yeah.
find him not likable. But you kind of see why, pieces bit by bit, you see why she's into him. So I think that was pretty cool to
Yeah.
kind of open that up like bit by bit.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't watch the other movie though yet, right? Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Mirai,
Oh no, I haven't.
you've
I
seen
haven't
it,
seen
right?
that yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But I think I'm gonna watch that. And there's another anime I want to watch. I don't know if you guys heard of it. The Tokyo Crisis 2020.
I want to
Oh,
watch that.
where's that on?
Yeah.
That's on Netflix. It's on
Okay.
Netflix. And yeah, it looks really good. My girlfriend's been watching, and she told me it's super emotional. So I want to check it out.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to check it
I
out.
saw-
Maybe we can talk about that.
That fan
I saw
just
that
said,
one.
"Don't do it." What do you mean? It's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, it's supposed to be
I
super
want to.
emotional.
Oh, it's
So-
emotional.
Because-
Okay, I thought you
yeah.
meant it in a
Yeah.
bad way.
No, that's good though.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Yeah, because there's another. It's weird because there's another. When I heard about this one, there's another Disaster Tokyo one that came out a couple years ago. It's called Tokyo Magnitude 8.0 or something like that.
Mm.
And I don't know how similar these are, but it kind of reminds me of Beastars and BNA, which is the new Trigger anime, which you should definitely watch.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Because
I saw that. I gotta check that out too.
So
Netflix is
it-
killing it with the animes.
Yeah. So those kind of remind me of like to the same kind of anime, I guess, genres or basic storylines. But they have two different outcomes, I guess, because we've seen that a couple times now. Like I think the first time I saw it was Fire Force and Promare. Those are very two similar sort of premises where they're dealing with sort of fire kind of thing in their storyline.
I haven't seen Premiere yet. Like I heard it's pretty good.
Premiere's good. It's another Trigger anime, so I love it.
Is that a movie? Isn't that a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Okay.
It's a movie.
It's like really colorful graphics. I remember.
Very colorful. Very colorful.
We'll check it
And it's
out.
got that trigger animation
Mhm.
and that
Is that on
Trigger art
Netflix
style.
too, or no?
No,
I don't
that
think it's
one's
on
not.
Netflix.
So
Yeah. I
Mariah
bought it
is on
that.
Netflix though. You gotta check
Mariah's
that
on
out.
Netflix. And
I'm gonna watch that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that then.
that one.
Yeah, we could talk
That's
about that a bit.
Makoto?
It's from what was his
Makoto
name? again?
Shinkai?
Is he Shinkai? No, it's someone else.
Or is it Hosada?
Hosada.
Is that a
Yeah,
Hosada?
Hosada.
Is that a
Yeah.
Hosada film?
The guy
Oh,
who
yeah,
made
yeah.
The Girl Leap Through Time, Boy and the
He made that?
Beast.
Boy and
Yep.
the Beast.
Yep. Same guy.
Oh,
So that's
it's one
why
of my favorite animes.
Yep. You definitely want to watch this one. It does deal with time
Yeah.
travel a bit too, as well.
Mm.
It kind of it's very family oriented. This Mirai. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like the total opposite of, in a way, A Whisker Away, because Mirai is about a family and about like the family tree, about like the struggles within a family, but also the perks and the beauty of making a family. Like this is the only anime that literally wish I had made a family by now. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's really that wholesome, and it shows it in not a way where it's like Disney type where it's like, oh, everything's just happy. Yeah, they actually show all the like struggles of being like a mom or dad with the spoiled kids, and then that kid not getting enough attention because the new baby's here, and then having those two kids get along, and who is like doing more in the pretty much the marriage where I take care of the kid more or stuff like that, and they're kind of dividing the responsibilities and stuff like that, and then still trying to maintain like they work
a family relationship.
Family,
yeah.
And they
So,
work in their
Dylan-
full-time jobs. Yep. So it deals with a
I'm
lot
down
of
to
real
watch
things.
it. Yeah, I'm down to watch it if you guys want to talk about it more in depth next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about
yeah.
more in
Anime
depth next
section?
week.
Yeah.
But that
I'm down.
movie
So-
like is,
It's good.
I feel like it's trying to tell Japan like make some babies. I feel like that was his
Yeah.
the low birth rate everywhere. But yeah, we'll go into
True.
more detail. That movie's so good. Like I
No
definitely
spoilers.
I mean, the
Yeah.
same guy that
No
made
spoiler.
Wolf Children and stuff like that. Yeah, no spoilers.
Oh,
So
nice.
So
I'm
for
gonna,
sure.
I'm gonna speak. I'll just put my 2 cents in for
Mhm.
this movie. So this movie I did not enjoy. To
You
be
didn't like
honest.
Mirai?
Really?
This was my least favorite
Oh.
Hosada movie. So
Hot take.
I'll just leave it at that. And whenever we talk about it, we'll talk about it next week or whenever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not my favorite Hosada movie. Like out of all the movies that he did, yeah, it wasn't for me. But we'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll go.
It was
in depth
definitely
about it.
different. Like each of his movies are a
Yeah.
little bit different. Like my least favorite Hosada movie was like Summer Wars. That didn't really hit me, even though it's very
Yeah.
gamer centric.
Mhm.
And I guess because it's following after Girl Lead Through Time, it's kind of a lot to live up to too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
I feel like they try to make that movie a little too on the nose, and it's just like kind of hits or misses.
yeah.
Yeah, it tried. The animation was definitely really good, but the story
yeah.
didn't really catch me too much in Summer Wars. But yeah, personally, I think that was the weakest one. But yeah, well, we'll hear about each other's thoughts more about Mirai. Other
Yeah.
than that, you guys anything wanted to cover before we wrap up? Looks like we're a bit over time now.
What are we at?
We're at like
Hour 10.
10.
Hour 10. Okay,
Yep, hour and
I'll wrap
10.
this up real quick then.
Yeah.
So since I've been out here, you guys know I'm out in Texas right now, so not at home, but I've been retro hunting, so I wanted to go over a couple of my hauls that I found. So
Okay, let's close out with some
we'll
hauls.
start. So we got some cool stuff. So I already showed you guys. I had Wonderful 101 because we're talking about remasters. So games that should either get ported over or get remastered are games that I picked out that are over 15 years old. Besides some. So we'll start with Xbox original. Blink's a Time Sweeper. Blinks is one of those puzzle platformer kind of games that was the representative of Xbox. Very, very cool title. This one was very, very fun. It's got a sequel, which I'm looking for, but this one was a cool find. This was great. Oh, the double pack, Sega GT and Jet Set Radio Future. This I got for a steal. This game needs support by Sega. Please
Bad.
get me a next gen version.
Dude, that game was like
Jet Set Cyberpunk.
amazing.
The soundtrack in this game is great. You need to play it. This was originally on the Dreamcast, which was Jet Grind Radio and Jet Set Radio, and this one is technically the sequel. So play this one if you've got an original Xbox. I'm actually probably going to pick up an Xbox to play this again. Another one it's a fun game that I personally liked. It's not really expensive, but it's a Death Row. So it's a game that basically is Ultimate Frisbee meets hockey, or not hockey, football, and
What?
Yeah. So basically, you have a disc that bounces off, almost like a M-rated Windjammers. Put it that way. So this one you can beat people up, things like that. So it's super fun. Yeah, it's an insane game. If you haven't played it, definitely play it. I remember I had a demo disc from the original Xbox magazines.
What's the game called? I can't see the title.
It is called Death Throw.
Death Throw.
Okay.
Death Throw. Yeah. So
You
it's
make
very,
that
very
Xbox?
cool. Yeah, this game is really, really fun. And this is old
Okay.
school
Man,
Ubisoft.
Xbox had
Old
some.
school
Oh wow.
Xbox had some exclusives back then. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
then this game I heard was garbage, Sudeki.
It's a nice cover though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying
That's
to
why
sell it.
I kind of bought it because it was one of the older I guess I think this is an RPG on Xbox, which is kind of hard to find. And all the people I know talk about, oh yeah, From Software, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, y'all gotta play Otogi. Otogi is probably the origin of the Demon/Dark Souls/Bloodborne kind of stuff. You can see on the back right here, baby.
What is it made by?
From Software.
Oh wow.
This is old school From Software.
So that's the same guys from Dark Souls then. Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's literally this is OG. This is predecessor to Demon Souls. So if you guys haven't played this,
That's OG, man.
this is OG.
They've been doing it for so long. I know that there's another game back on like the PlayStation that they've made. It was called like King's Grave or something.
Yes. That's the other one I'm trying to find.
That was it. That was even more OG. Yeah, so it's From Software. The reason why they're so good at making those awesome dungeon crawler games is they've been doing it the whole time.
They've been doing it for a long time.
Literally, the Demon Souls takes. I'm assuming it takes all those elements from those previous dungeon crawl games that they had. So decades of experience.
Yep. And then I've got a couple things on PlayStation, which are cool too. So we'll go through.
Where'd you
We got
pick all this
Yu-Gi-Oh!
up in Texas?
In Texas, yeah, retro
Yeah.
hunting. So got some cool Capsule Monster
All the
stuff.
stores opened up in Texas, huh? Is it
Mhm.
more opened up
some
there
of-
than California? I think it is, huh?
Oh, Rogue Galaxy.
Rogue
Rogue Galaxy, yeah.
Game.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
love
classic.
that
great game. Yeah,
I
classic.
think
I
I got
haven't
that for
played it.
PS2 as well. I picked it up like a way back, like right
Yeah.
before like GameStop stopped selling PS2 games.
nice.
Yeah.
This
I played
one I
that
gotta
from
play.
beginning to end. It's really
Yeah,
good.
I gotta play that one. So
I want to
we got
pick it
that
up
one.
for. I know there's like a PS4 version of it too. Like
Is there?
yeah.
Astro Boy.
yeah, like a digital.
Astro
Oh,
Boy.
nice, Astro
Oh.
Boy.
So Astro Boy, and then Evergrace, which is a Agitech game. I don't know what this is about, but this one looked cool. So I was like, all right, we'll see. We'll see how it
Hey,
goes.
Have you ever run across a copy of Monster Hunter on PS2? Like the original one?
Yeah.
I want that.
I've
If you
got-
ever find one.
Shadow of Destiny. This one is an
Yeah, it'd be
old
nice to have that
Konami game.
in the collection.
This one I want to see. I got recommended from a couple other retro hunters, and Suda 51, Killer 7, old school Capcom game, which is on PC, of course, but literally definitely nice to play on the old school stuff.
Nice.
But that's some of my hauls for right now. But
I didn't know they had
and-
Killer 7 on the PS2 as well.
yeah, they have. I think it's on PC now too.
I
So you
think
can buy
I
it on
have-
Steam.
I have it on PS3, but I know they released it
Yeah.
on PC as well. That's cool.
Hmm. But yeah, and then I got one, not a grail, but it was pretty cool to see. This is the factory sealed Polly Pocket. It hasn't been open at all. So I saw this in a box and was like, "Yo!" I mean, it was a couple bucks, and it's only worth a couple bucks. But to have a Game Boy Advance game still sealed, factory
True.
sealed at that point, so that was pretty cool.
hmm
True.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool to see some of that stuff out here. But yeah, oh, I totally forgot. I didn't even talk about the Ubisoft conference. All right, so let me wrap it up because it'll take like 2 minutes to wrap this up. So.
Okay.
Ubisoft, they had their conference today about their new lineup for the next gen, current gen, end of current gen. So they showed more Watchdog Legion, which is the next Watch Dogs set out in London. It looks interesting. I don't think I'm going to buy it day one, but that's the one that you can basically look at anybody on any NPC and basically recruit them and play as them. So they have millions and millions of players, or millions and millions of combinations of players
Mhm.
or people, and create traits and stuff like that. You pick anyone and they will be recruited into your kind of militia / resistance.
Yeah.
In addition to that, they showed off Hyperscape, which is the MOBA game, or not the MOBA, the Battle Royale game. That's kind of their take. So I like it. It's cool because it's like a cyberpunk aesthetic as far as a battle royale. And they said it played fast paced like a dang Unreal, which I really love Unreal Tournament. But when I tried it, it was cool. It's definitely fast paced. It's very simplistic. So there's not a whole set of things where it's like armors and stuff like that. It's basic upgrades, or no real big upgrades on the guns. So the cool part that I will talk about is basically there's a set amount of guns. If you collect another gun of the same type, it adds a buff to the magazine, so you get more ammo and you increase your clip size, which is a cool thing. I was like, all right, that's pretty interesting. You know, if you run over the same kind of the gun type, then you get more ammo in the clip, and so that was pretty cool. I like that. And as far as like aesthetic wise, it looks interesting. The characters are very like LCD screen or LED screen, like a Daft Punk kind of helmet and stuff like that. So it's very, very cool. But the big reveal that I wanted to talk about was Far Cry 6. So it got leaked out like 2 or 3 days ago. And a couple weeks back, what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito, the guy who played Gus and basically Grand Moff, I forget his name, in Mandalorian, that has the Darksaber.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the dude
yeah.
from Breaking Bad. Like a lot of the characters.
Yes, Gus.
Like my friend was telling me about Far Cry. He's saying they sure do love using former actors from Breaking Bad.
So, I mean, dude is a really, really good actor.
Yeah, I love.
Very,
yeah,
very
I love
cool.
that.
He's a very great actor. And to see him in this game, like he was teasing back. He was like, yeah, I'm working on a video game, but I can't talk to you about it. So it got leaked out, I think, a couple days ago, and they finally confirmed it today. and
there's a trailer.
it is interesting. So, but that's
Far Cry
basically the
6.
wrap up.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's basically the wrap up and the gist of the Ubisoft conference. Not too many big reveals. It was literally talking about. I think the biggest reveal was Just Dance 2022 or 21 didn't get announced. There was nothing of Just Dance, so I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Every
Man.
Ubisoft conference usually has Just Dance, and they didn't have it this year. So
The
I was
ego
like,
streamers are crying in their sleep right now. Like,
oh man, I'm crying, man. Like literally, an announcement of no Just Dance. That's like a year going without Call of Duty. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like
They
you
probably felt
think
like
something?
they probably felt like they
Yeah.
saturated it, I guess.
I mean, they saturated a long time ago, but
Yeah.
still, just to you know, once you know that you're saturated, you keep rolling with it, just like Call of Duty has, and that's kind of a shocker because usually Call of Duty, Just Dance, Battlefield, those are every year, and to have one of those like Just Dance not getting announced, okay, that's super strange. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. But yeah, no, Far Cry 6, very interesting. I think Shane and I were talking earlier, and he says he's aiming for it to be a prequel. But we'll see, though. We'll see. It looks interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Ubisoft comments. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for us. So, you guys have anything?
Yeah, no, I'm good. That was good to input that. At least some sort of games. I forgot about the Far Cry 6 announcement. But other than that, we'll wrap it up. We definitely a lot to we fit a lot in this podcast here. We put a lot of different things. But other than that, thank you for listening, everyone. We are the Hyperbolic Time Chamber Podcast. Again, you can catch us at 9 p.m. Pacific time on HTC Podcast Live. You guys want to shout out your handles? Go ahead, Ron.
Okay. Jeff said you can follow us on Instagram at HTC_podcast. Twitter is the same handle. Every Sunday we go live here. And me personally, if you want to follow me, I'm at Ron Kauanoe. I don't know where it is this week. I think it might be somewhere around the border above my head. Okay, cool. So you can follow me there if you want to follow me personally. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it.
For sure. Boo?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitch, Real_F. Never gonna change forever. So that's it.
Nice and simple.
Keep it simple, short, sweet.
Yep, for sure. And for me, as always, you could find me on Twitch on 350Z Time or Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Catch me out there on Twitch for sure. I've been streaming a lot, playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definite Edition. I know Shane will probably appreciate that one. Other than that, we'll catch you guys later next week. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Bye.